Hello Mixology Hackers and welcome back to the channel. Welcome. Okay. Welcome back to the channel, Mixology Hackers. I'm so happy to see your smiling faces. I know I can't see you, but I do like to believe that you're smiling now, seeing I'm back. Yes, it took a very long time for me to step back and come back to you because I haven't been well. Like nothing to worry about, nothing really serious, but for the past month and a half I've been having a very hard time recovering from work and finding the energy and the power to do anything, to be honest, in my personal life. Not just these videos, but maintain the house, being 100% active, being a 100% dad to my children, just being there when they need me. It's been a weird. I am coming back, and you're probably gonna find out during the video. I'm gonna have to sip some non-alcoholic fizzy drink here just to help me with my voice, because I'm still having issues with my chest and finding hard times sometimes to talk proper, or a little bit cough. So I don't know what's going on. It's nothing serious. It's just one of those which takes a long time, and combining my busy schedule in work and everyday life, which I can avoid, I think a little bit burnout of everything. So I pushed too much on myself, and now I'm, kind of harvesting the consequences. Anyway, as you've seen the title, today we are going to prepare a blood orange syrup, but also I want to let you know that preparing the blood orange syrup, it will put the fundamentals of doing a blood orange liqueur. So I will split this time the video. I know we always do long videos here because it takes what it takes and nobody rush, and that's always going to be the case. But I'm thinking of combining syrups with liqueurs. It's kind of a clashing the purpose of the videos, because in my personal opinion, they should be in separate categories. So I have separate playlist, and whoever is interested to do the liqueur can just watch doing the liqueur, or whoever is interested doing the syrup, just watch the syrup. Of course, sometimes they have crossover, so to make the liqueur you may need to take some steps from doing the syrup. But I think going forward I'm gonna try to strictly separate the categories, and not avoiding being very long videos, but being more organized. Let's put it that way. So today we are going to prepare the syrup, and we are going to put just a slight fundamental of the liqueur, which is gonna come next week. So this way it's gonna give me a little bit more kind of a nice coming back to you with more regular uploads, so I can bring back the energy of the channel, and we take it from there. So, since it's a season of the blood orange, I said let's do the syrup. It's fairly easy. I know most or many people out there just gonna say squeezed orange, mix it with sugar, boil it, bottle it, serve it, which is fine. But we're not doing this on this channel. We try to avoid all these basic steps, not making it so complicated, but give you the idea, and obviously some tips how to increase the shelf life, make it a little bit better, and be more unique. So I'm going to give you some steps which I use. It's entirely up to you if you want to follow them or you want to make your own twist. As always, I give you the core, the base, the idea, the guidance, and from there it's all about the mixology hacks. Yeah, you do your own experiments and come up with something new. Let us know. We all want to know what you're doing out there. So why I'm saying this, it's because let's don't forget the Bartender's Lounge. It still exists, the community, and it's still free thanks to all the people who supporting me on Patreon. I'm able to keep the Bartenders Lounge community open. So if you have anything you want to share, you want to join and chat with us, or you want to exchange ideas or ask questions, make sure to join the Bartenders Lounge community because it's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you anything. On the other hand, if you want to support me and you want to support this channel and in the same time supporting Just Shake or Steer, there's a Patreon page which you can join for free again, but it's quite limited to what you can see, or you can become a Patreon. So it's entirely up to you. All the links in the description. I'll be happy to see you there. And with this said, let's make some blood orange syrup because it's the season of blood oranges, and if you don't try it now, you're probably missing on a fantastic blood orange margaritas. Okay, so let's crack on. Okay, Mixology Hackers, so for the syrup, for the recipe which I'll be sharing with you and we're making on the channel today, you need few things. Of course, you need blood oranges. So they're in the season, usually January, February. Very rare occasion you may find some in the beginning of March. Depends where you live, but I think that's probably the best time now to go and grab some blood oranges. Sorry, I'm gonna have a sip. Oh, it's so hard. But we're not giving up, we keep going. Right. So yeah, as I mentioned, they're in the season, so blood oranges, fantastic syrup. And I mentioned earlier, you can make a beautiful blood orange margarita with them and other cocktails, but I will leave link in the description to my recipe, which I made a few years ago. So if you're interested and if you make this syrup, you can use it and make a lovely blood orange margarita. But today we're just doing the syrup. Now, you may see a lemon here. Yes, I use just the zest of the lemon. In many cases, people use citric acid, malic acid, you know, things like that, which is absolutely fine. I do suggest, obviously, if you're making a home ingredients, the malic and the citric acid, it's not always the best solution, not because of quality, because of the packaging. So if you can find the small packaging, it's absolutely fine, 100% use it, because you have the ability to use the whole citric acid or malic acid before it's expired or became unusable. Most of the time they come in the tubes. The smallest one which I ever find, it's 50 grams. It may don't sound much, but considering the amount we're using in some of the recipes, that may keep you your tube or container open for a very long time. However, risking taking behind or over the recommended date of use, it's significantly bigger. So it's entirely up to you. That's why I stick to fresh ingredients, and I'm gonna use a lemon peel just to bring some zestiness to these oranges, because the oranges in general, the juice, they contain natural malic acid. So you can put a little bit extra to enhance the flavor, but it's not exactly necessary, okay? So let's don't go crazy. We're just gonna keep it simple here. I'm gonna be using a caster sugar. Use the sugar of your choice. If you want to have a little bit more of caramel flavor, use Demerara sugar or maybe dark Muscovado sugar, depends of your taste buds. But I prefer the caster sugar for this syrup, and not only this, caster sugar is dissolved faster and it's absorbed very quickly, so also help. I'll be using a few dry flowers of hibiscus just to elevate the red color. Now, the actual juice is gonna have enough redness inside, but sometime when you cook, it may lose some of the color. So to help to maintain this kind of a red orange or a blood orange color, we are using few dry hibiscus flowers. Easy to get from anywhere and use it. Now, two optional ingredients here. Last one is vanilla paste. I'm just gonna use a little bit on tip of the spoon just to bring this kind of a lovely vanilla flavor to it. You don't have to do that, but that's how I like it. And of course, I'm gonna use some gome or gum crystals. Again, optional. You don't need to use that. I like to use it because when they dissolve, they kind of turn to a gel, so they're gonna make a little bit of the syrup texture a little bit thicker. Okay, but that's all. That's my personal preference. That's my kind of a you know, guidance to you. You can go through exactly what I do, or you can experiment, or as I say, you don't need to use the vanilla paste or the gummy. Okay, that's entirely up to you. So first thing first, we're gonna start with our oranges, and this is where I mentioned that it's kind of a crossing over with the liqueur making. So I will mention that in the liqueur making video, so there's no confusions, but we're gonna start here today because I don't want to lose any ingredients. So 100% sustainable, and bear in mind the red oranges, they're not very easy to zest, okay? Their peel, it's a little bit thinner. Most of the time I like to call them peaches, because literally the zest of the blood orange, depends on the orange you get, but the one which I can gather, they're not very easy to zest, okay? So as you can see, it's not an even zest. I'm basically going through it just to get the zest away, because I need that to use for the liqueur. So I'm gonna do 6 of these oranges because they're not big. You can see them, they're not the usual size of the orange. The red oranges, it's a slightly smaller. I mean, I've seen a few times a bigger one, but in generally, we always get this size, okay? So zest your oranges in a separate box, and because this zest is gonna go for our liqueur, okay? Just so you know. I'll see you in a second when I'm done. Okay, my lovely friends, I'm done. I have my zest. As you can see, it should be no white. Like this one, I have a little bit white. I won't bother removing it because 90% or 95% of my zest doesn't have any of the white pit. Try to avoid the white pit because we all know the white pit, it's where the bitterness is held. Like, they're not overly bitter, but you don't want to introduce any bitterness to your liqueur later on. I mean, I don't know, if you like the bitter orange liqueur, that's a different story. Go wild with the pit, okay? That's fine by me. Now, we're gonna do a little measuring here. So let's just grab that before I transfer it. So measure your peel. See how much we have. This is 66 grams here, which is absolutely fantastic. And I'm gonna drop just 2 lemon zest, so 70 grams. We're gonna go with custard sugar on the top. And we're gonna keep it exactly like the orange zest. So we have 70 grams, so we need to go to 140, which is giving us 70 grams of sugar. Fabulous. Right, I'm happy with that. I'll give it a good mix. I want most of the sugar to stick to the orange. And what we're doing here, basically, we're doing oleosaccharum, yeah? Which later on, we are going to use in the liqueur, okay? But that's kind of the crossover and the connection between making your syrup and later on your liqueur. So I'm gonna put everything in a lovely, nice seal container and leave it to extract. Usually take around 12 hours, overnight, room temperature. It doesn't need to go crazy about it. Just leave it to extract as much you can. Obviously, you can speed up this process with heating, but I will not recommend it because you want the sugar to extract the oils from the peel, and then you'll see what we're doing when it comes to the liqueur with this peel. But for now, we leave it on the side and we continue with our syrup. Okay, as you can see on the side here, my sous vide is already prepared, and you know me, I like my Suve, okay? I'm gonna have to find a, oh my gosh, I'm running out of sockets here. Anyway, so our oranges, it's ready to be squeezed. And yeah, that's what you're gonna do. We're going to squeeze our oranges, and let me just show you something, because you get a blood orange from the shop, and not every blood orange, it's actually bloody inside, which is extremely annoying. But that's why we're using the hibiscus here. Okay, so look at that. It was absolutely red on outside. Inside is just start developing. This one, it wasn't that red on outside, but inside it's already developed. Okay? So this is where you're gonna get the hit and miss. I mean, if you have somebody, supplier, which you know, and you can go and pick your oranges, it's fantastic. But if you buy them from the shop, most of the time, it will be mixture of both, and you'll have like a hit and miss, okay? Right, I'm ready with the oranges here. It's all squeezed proper. Let me just move this garbage on the side. I mean, it's a proper mess, but it is what it is. I'll leave this just to get the whole juice inside. Then we are going to vacuum pack everything and cook on the Suve for 1 hour on 60 degrees. Okay? I'm just gonna clean my hands like that. I'm not gonna even wash it. Right, so we have, that's 350, I'll say it's probably around 400 milliliter of juice. Let me just see, because it's having a hard time. This juice, it's having a hard time. Now the thing with the juice here at the moment is you're gonna have some pulp, you may have some seeds drop inside. Don't bother on this stage at all, okay? We are going to amend this on the later stage. Now we want all the flavor from anything what we can extract, so we're not gonna bother about doing any fine sieving or any removing of the pulp or any seeds, okay? Now, here we go. Get your vacuum back. I'll take probably, yeah, just 3 good size hibiscus flower. It's just more than enough to kind of keep the consistency in the color, okay? Just drop them in. Right, we have 350, 400 ml of the juice, but to make everything perfect, we are going to measure, okay? Simple as that. Why are we measuring? Because we're working with weight here. We don't work, we are not working with milliliters, okay? We want everything to be perfect, right? So let's see if I'm right or no. Yeah, 431 grams. So I said 400 milliliters, so I'm not far, okay? Not far at all. 43, so 430 grams. Guess how much sugar we're gonna put? Exactly. 430, so that'll be, it needs to bring to 860. This is basically 1-to-1 syrup. It's gonna be nice and thick and sweet and zesty. Oh, it will be fantastic. Here, as I mentioned before, we need 2 lemon peels. Again, just to the syrup. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to sip, my voice is going. I have to say it's very uncomfortable recording, but I can't keep taking so long time away from the channel because it's driving me insane, okay? Optional, as I mentioned, you can use gome. I'm gonna drop one crystal. Usually it needs to be soaked for a few hours. It'll be fine. And before I put all this to the bag, we're gonna stir a little bit. And this is why I mentioned castor sugar. Because castor sugar is going to dissolve faster and it's going to help me to transfer it to the bag. And you may ask, why are you cooking then? It's all dissolved, it's all ready. You can just leave it to soak with the hibiscus leaves to release some color, you know, everything else, you'll be fine. Yes and no. Because first of all, if you don't give this water bath, you're basically pasteurizing your syrup. So you cook it, then you cool it down, and that's pasteurizing the syrup, which gives the syrup a not extreme, but far more long shelf life than just doing a cold or doing a quick cooking. I hope that makes sense. And as always, we're gonna drop a little bit of spirit inside on the very end. In this case, I think I'm gonna go with some kind of a Cointreau or a maybe Grand Marnier, or maybe go with a little bit of Cognac. We'll see, I will decide, didn't decide yet. For now, all I want is to put it inside to cook, so we can bottle it, wrap up this video, and then tomorrow I'm gonna film the liqueur for you to see it next week, okay? So let me just give it a quick swirl. The vanilla paste, while you're doing all this, you can do like a, I don't know, this is, I would say it's a personal preference. I do like a tip of the spoon, or like if it's a teaspoon, maybe just 1/3 of it, depends how big it is. All I want is to have this little bit like a vanilla flavor inside in the syrup. It won't be dominant because you have wonderful orange, you have the lemon zest, you have the sweetness, but in overall balance, it'll be absolutely fantastic, right? I think I'm pretty good here. I think the actual castor sugar, it's already dissolved pretty well. So let me just pour some of it. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It's look absolutely splendid. My hands is sticky. So sticky, it's crazy. But who cares? We gotta do what we gotta do. So I'm gonna move this in the front here, because what I need is, of course, my vacuum sealing machine. And by the way, for the liqueur which we're gonna do, I think we're going to use my new pressure chamber, but we'll see about that. Okay, so all we need to do is seal it. So I'll put it on the end of the table to take as much air I can, and just press seal. And we are done, to be honest. So noisy. There you go. Can move that. That's what we have, a nice, consistent, very kind of a jelly, because you have enough sugar and obviously the juice, it's more texture, it's not just a water. Now, my sous vide is on 52 degrees, should go on 60, but nothing wrong with that to drop the syrup inside to give it a little starting point of cooking. This is gonna cook for an hour, then I'll be back just to bottle it, show you a few small bits, and we're done with the syrup. And then I'm gonna start prepping for the liqueur for the next week. See you shortly. Okay, Mixology Hackers, we are ready to bottle. So we had a 1 hour of cooking time here. Everything is fine. It's look very nice. So let's take it out. We are going to sieve this anyway, so you absolutely fine. As you can see, the orange pulp, it's separate, it's gone on the top, and on the bottom we have a lovely perfect red syrup. okay? So I'm just gonna leave it for a moment here to cool down. There's no really way to avoid mixing the pulp much, but as I mentioned, we're gonna find sieve and it will be absolutely fine. I'm just gonna turn this off. Otherwise, it's gonna keep beeping until I don't turn it off. Anyway, so all you need, forget about coffee filters, forget about cheesecloth or a milk bag or anything, just a fine sieve. We're making a syrup end of the day. Now, if you're really picky and you want to be extremely clear, yes, you can filtrate it a few different ways. As always, you can go with a coffee filter or you can go with you know, agar-agar or anything like that. For me, I'm not really bothered. It's a syrup. I just want the content. Now, these bags, you can peel them off, but I would like to always just cut the corner, make a very small hole, and just go gently through the sieve. There you go. Fabulous. I want all the goodness in. And the final things which we have inside, it's our gum crystal, which I'm gonna put directly in the syrup. Why? I'll show you now. Okay, if you wanna help your juice to go through, just get a bar spoon or any spoon and just help a little bit with the sieve. Depends how fine it's your sieve. Mine it's extremely like a fine, so it's gonna stop pretty much everything. But I don't want to lose any of the syrup, so I will just help it for a few seconds here. There you go, I'm pretty happy with that. There will be a few drops, but hey, let's don't be picky, okay? So, as I mentioned earlier, the gome and the vanilla paste, it's absolutely optional. So if you don't use it, you don't need to do this step. You're pretty much done. You can bottle your syrup, let it cool down, and you're fine. But for me, I just want to make sure this gome is mixed up proper with the syrup inside. That's why I'm gonna give it like a quick blast on the blender. It doesn't need too much. Just a quick one. Let me just switch it on and okay. I'm gonna go on a manual mode. I still love this blender. You need one of those, like for anything. But hey, I'm just gonna go on manual and just gonna blend it. And a few pulls. Fabulous, we're done. Yeah, it's gonna have a little pressure because obviously it's hot. When you're blending hot, you're gonna build a little pressure. That's absolutely fine. Well, that just tastes so good. I mean, my hands it's proper sticky again, but hey, let's bottle it and we'll leave it to cool down in the bottle. So do not close the bottle. I mean, you can, but if you close it, it may create a very big vacuum, maybe hard to open after, okay? So just leave it open. Let it cool down to room temperature. Put it in the fridge, of course, and use it. But before I let you go, you decide now. Do you want to add some Cointreau, some Grand Marnier, or just some Cognac? As you know, I always add quite fair measure to my syrups because I always use them in cocktails. Very rare occasion in mocktails. But even if I'm using the mocktails, the amount of the spirit inside is going to be so much low ABV. Of course, be careful to not use it for kids if you're using some spirit inside. If it's for a grown-up mocktail, that's fine because you'll be very, 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 very low spirit level inside. Just don't use it for the kids. So in my case, I think I'm gonna go with, let's see. It depends what I have open, to be honest, guys. I do have some Cointreau somewhere and a Grand Marnier. But hey, I think I'm gonna go with a Cognac. Yeah. So if you're using a Cognac, make sure you use something like a nice and fruity, not very dry. I'll be using Remy Martin here, which is quite delicious. It's 7038, lovely. And I'm just gonna add 50 ml. That's it. And I'm done. I'll leave it to cool down, give it a little shake after, put it in the fridge, and go make some lovely blood orange margaritas. I love them. So nice with this syrup. But for now, as always, go experiment, get messy in the kitchen or whatever you're doing your mixology hacks. Make sure to comment, like, share, subscribe, check the Bartender's Lounge and the Patreon page. And of course, come back next week for some blood orange liqueur. Until then, stay safe and I'll see you soon again. Bye-bye.